Will Jasmine Parra please join the board up front to accept a plaque? We need it. The Sutter County Board of Supervisors proudly recognizes and sincerely thanks Jasmine Parra for her generous donation to the Sutter County Health and Human Services Department, Children's Services Branch, Child Welfare Services. Through your remarkable act of kindness and compassion, your donation will provide comfort, support, and hope to children in foster care throughout Sutter County. We commend you for your generosity, resilience, and commitment to making a meaningful difference in the lives of others.
While our family's going to come down to join us for the photo, I'm going to pass the mic over.
Yeah, we just wanted to recognize Jasmine. This was a project that she did through high school, and she decided to collect toys for children in need through CWS. They're involved with the CWS system. We just thought it was a really fantastic thing that she did. So we're very thankful. I'm sure her family's very proud. And so thank you, Jasmine, for your efforts in doing that.
And Jasmine, we're ready to hire you anytime. Come and work for HHS.
Everybody in there? Got everybody in. Okay. All right. Public comment. Members of the public will be allowed to address the board on items of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors. State law provides that no discussion or action may be taken on any items not appearing on the posted agenda. We have 2 speaker cards. First speaker.
The first speaker is Tina Hessong.
Good afternoon, supervisors. I just wanted to stand up and say what a wonderful celebration of our country's 250th Independence Day we had. Our community showed proud. And I just wanted to acknowledge all the celebrations in the community, the fireworks, the bike parade, the car show, and the drone show was really cool. So thanks for all the great celebration. And as Tony would say, thank you for your service.
Next speaker.
Next speaker is Heather Esselman.
Oh, it's green. Good afternoon, gentlemen. So I am here because I kind of figured when you have a agenda. So first of all, my name is Heather Esselman. I am on the Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health Advisory Board, and until recently I was chair. I wrote a annual report. This is mandated by the state, but it's also something that will give you kind of an idea of what the board has been doing. For those that don't know what the board does, we are a state mandated board. We are responsible or there are requirements that we have to do, one of which is site visits for a lot of the programs that we have. That includes the outpatient and inpatient facilities that by counties operate. In any case, I'm not sure if you were able to read the report because it's on page 694, so you may not have gotten that far. In any case, I wanted to mention a couple of things that are really important, and I'm sure that Supervisor Ziegenmeier has mentioned this to you either individually or maybe as part of this gremium, but I just wanted to focus on a couple of things. So the first thing, obviously, was the big impact from Prop 1 and our transition from the Mental Health Services Act to the Behavioral Health Services Act. Part of that was for us to have a board that has certain requirements, and we are fulfilling those requirements. We have for, I think it started in 25, and we've been compliant with that ever since. Then there's also other things. One of the major things, because I also attend the meetings in Sacramento, the mobile crisis, it has been kind of a real issue for communities to get going. And I would like to definitely say that our team here, or your team, has done a really good job of being able to keep that going. There have been a few bumps. They've changed that slightly. We had a presentation from them, and we're very excited with the new company or the new vendor that's going to be doing this. Like I said, a lot of the other communities have not been able to get the kind of 24/7 response that you've been able to have between the two counties, and I think that that is something that definitely needs to be mentioned. There's a couple of other things, care court and some of those other state mandated things that the county is doing a really good job of trying to implement those. We basically ask them for presentations regularly on those items and see if there's anything that we as advocates, because some of us are family members or community members, or consumers is what they're called. And so we try to make sure that we're advocating for not only our own families and ourselves, but also for the community. We also wanted to make sure that we included the statistics because there is some confusion. Somehow people are always arguing between the two counties who's got more. So I included that on page, I think 699, I don't have my glasses here. So you can see that basically about 2.2, 2.4 the population, depending on which county you're looking at. So it's really no big difference between the two of them. None of us are getting better off or less off because of the bi-county working together. So if you ever have any questions, you're welcome to contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have one more public comment and then 2 comments on consent items. The next public comment is Tony Farley.
Good job. Tony Farley, Northview City, the Pro Sacramento region. Thank you, Tina Hesson, for her service. Thank you, Neil, for her service. You'll bring retention pond papers tomorrow with Stephanie's office. Thank you, Sarah Ariels, for her service. Thank you, the Hampson guy, for his service. Thank you, Zachary Hamble, for his service. Zachary Hamble, Hamilton, Zachary Hamilton. Thank you, Library, for her service. Hope you get the library books less money. Okay, hopefully get that library books. Thank you, Professor Steve Smith, for his service. Harvard Kennedy School Government. Thank you, Young Deputy, for his service. Young Deputy, for his service. Thank you, 2-star, for his service. Don't forget August. Don't forget August, man. Don't forget, and thank you, the baddest funny sheriff ever, 4-star, Brendan Barnes. Thank you, the Commandant Marine Corps, for his service. The Commandant Marine Corps, the Commandant. Thank you, William Bill, President Lawyer, for his service. Tom Reuter, Co-Counsel, AI. Thank you, Jeff Boone, for his service. Thank you, Carbain for his service. Thank you, Jeff Stevens, Farmhouse, Pumpkin Pie, for his service. Thank you, Dan Flores, Congressman Dan Flores, for his service. Thank you, GNW, for his service. And thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, the probation lady for service, and thank you for your service right here. Thank you for service. Thank you, and drink Veronica Bugard for your service.
Our next speaker is Tina Hessong on consent item number 10.
New California State Governor Pro Tempore Robert Paul Preston issued a letter to the Sutter County Supervisors, Sheriff, and Registrar of Voters, urging them not to certify any election in our county because of the massive influx of illegal foreign nationals. The reason is that the California DMV has been issuing driver's license and identification cards to illegal immigrants and simultaneously registering them to vote. As you know, to vote in California for federal elections, you must be a citizen of the United States. The high probability of illegal aliens due to the recent massive influx creates a significant opportunity for violations of California Election Code Section 1600D. To certify the vote would give the sheriff not only the right, but also the obligation to investigate voter fraud. If the board and the registrar certify the election, they will be committing a felony. This information was sent to the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, and on July 7th, 2026, Assistant Attorney General Dillon subsequently issued a warning letter to all 50 states' election officials with further amplified concerns about civil rights and eligibility violations. From the letter, moreover, while the federal law obviously makes it unlawful for non-citizens to vote in federal elections, 52 U.S.C. 21144, so 21144, state election officers, including the chief election officer of the state, could be criminally prosecuted for aiding and abetting under 18 U.S.C. 1015F, 18 U.S.C. 911, and 18 U.S.C. 611. I have provided the clerk a copy of Harmeet Dillon's letter and an article for the Gateway Pundit for your review. Thank you for your consideration to this matter.
Our last speaker is Tony Farley on consent item number 12.
Tony Farley, again, proposed SAC Regent. Okay, the item 12, El Rios. Item 12 includes the William Glenn Care Facility nearby Behavioral Health, nearby the gas station. Letterman Pair Store Act, LPS Conservatee, LPS Conservatorship, Guardianship, Play Guardian. So pretty much the LP Act created during the 1960s, 67, I believe. The first conservatorship law created in 1957, so around since the 60s, 50s, LPS, and for conserving mental health patients under LPS in the Welfare Institution Code. So, yeah, Sarah is the LP. Yeah, Sarah, you do it too. Sarah's in charge of mental health.
Yes, thank you so much, Tony, for the question.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
this facility is an unlocked facility, and it will serve folks who are on LPS or Lanterman Petrus Short Act conservatorship. You are correct.
10-4, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, are there any other public comment? Anyone on Zoom? All right. Okay, now moving on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar groups together those items which are considered non-controversial or for which prior policy direction has been given to staff and that require only routine action by the board. The chair will advise the audience that the matters may be adopted in total by one motion. However, the board may, at its option or upon request of the member of the public, consider any matter separately. This consent calendar consists of items 1 through 23. I'm looking for action for the board.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Move approval of consent items 1 through 19.
I'll second.
1 through 23.
Sorry, 1 through 23. Thank you.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded.
Can we
Can we just do all in favor? Do we have to have a roll call?
Roll call, please. Supervisor Boone?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegenmeier? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
Supervisor Stevens?
All right, motion carries.
Through the chair, one item on item number 18. I'd like to request that at a future date we have a presentation from the Sutter County Superintendent of Schools on how things are going in terms of employment services, including numbers of people served and their success rates as well.
All right, request noted, and the staff will follow up on that. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to go down to item 24. Neil Hay.
Adoption of a resolution recognizing the Yuba-Sutter Regional Safety Action Plan as a regional guide for transportation improvements for safer streets.
Good afternoon, Acting Chair and Supervisors. Neil Hay from Development Services. Thanks for this opportunity to present the Yuba-Sutter Regional Safety Action Plan. This is a document that involves Yuba County, City of Wheatland, City of Marysville, Sutter County, City of Live Oak, and City of Yuba City. All the other jurisdictions have already adopted a resolution in support of the plan, so I'm kind of the last but the best to kind of bring it before your board. It was just recently considered by the City of Marysville. So I have a PowerPoint that I could kind of share. What happened is the jurisdictions kind of led by Yuba County Public Works received an $800,000 federal grant to study the trend of accidents over 6 years, 2018 through 2023, in our two relative counties and then the respective cities. And so they gathered all of the data in order to identify some action items as what could be done. So I'm going to kind of click through some of the items specific to Sutter County, and there's a few items that relate to the kind of follow-up action items that we could do. The timing of this, for your considerations, I'll just say very timely, because the Caltrans and the Federal Highway Administration, they just released the call for funding grants for the HSIP Highway Safety Improvement Program. So, and those are projects that look to improve roadway safety for motorists. And what you have to do is you have to identify hazards or why accidents are occurring. And then there is a kind of a pre-selected group of corrective actions that then you apply to your subject roadways. So we'll kind of go through this. So once again, I mentioned it's an $800,000 grant that's been executed and utilized for the funding. If we move through it, and you can move through it. Thank you. So this gives you a little bit of just, like I say, the relative, it's like a heat map that shows the relative crashes between our two counties. If we keep going farther. To give you overall, there was just about 40, over the 6 years, it actually works out to be about 5,300 crashes and accidents between automobiles, pedestrian, and bicyclists. And those are shown. KSI is killed or severely injured. And this also does include accidents that occur along the state highway system, so State Route 99, 20, and 70 within our respective jurisdictions, even Highway 65 in Yuba County. So those are all kind of included into it as we kind of scroll forward through. This describes obviously the type of accidents that between broadsides, rear-ended, and hit objects. Unfortunately, in Sutter County, hit objects, one of the most common accidents are motorists that leave the roadway. And so it's defined in the plan, which is included as an attachment to your staff report, that it's termed from traffic engineering standpoint as turning away from an intersection. Is how the accidents are clustered. And what happened is for our agency, it's about 29% of the accidents in Sutter County, it's motorists that leave the roadway. And so then they hit a sign post, they hit a tree, they hit some other barrier that causes, it can kill or it can cause severely damaged injuries. So here is a little bit of the tally of actually specific to Sutter County over those 6 years. Once again, 2018 to 2023. This data was all pulled from SWITRs, which we typically present to your board when we are recommending, for example, stop signs at intersections, because we have to reference the SWITRs database, which is all of the accidents reports that are compiled by the California Highway Patrol throughout the state. Those accidents are submitted to a transportation lab at UC Berkeley, and they maintain the SWITRS database that every agency, city, county, utilize in looking at their accidents. And it's also, once again, the basis of, it's an established basis for federal funding applications. So like I say, in that 6-year period, 301 motorists were either killed or severely injured as part of those accidents. And once again, you can see a little bit bigger map of the relative locations, and we'll speak a little bit as to what are our primary roadways where we're going to focus our attention going forward with grant applications. Continue. Just to let you know, so there were a series of public outreach meetings, both in both counties and in the cities, in order to try to educate the public and garner input from everyone. So these are our safety corridors, and they're relative to the heat map that was shown a little bit earlier. So State Route 99, I think probably all of yourself as supervisors are aware of the accidents that occur. Our sheriff's office, our fire department respond to accidents along the state route system. Some roads to make you aware of: Pass Road, essentially through the Buttes, Township Road. What happened?
We get to watch ourselves. This is great.
It's over on, I guess it's over on the other screen, but yeah. So maybe I'll list the roadways for your benefit. So Pass Road, so Township Road, Township Road, south of Highway 20, George Washington Boulevard from Bogue down to Tudor Roadway, which is 113, Nicholas Avenue from Markham to State Route 70, and then Pleasant Grove Road and Riego Road. So I think those are our main kind of either major collectors or arterial roadways where we see high traffic volumes. Quite often can see high rates of speeds, right? While we have no speed limit in the county on a roadway above 55 miles an hour, but I think as our department often reports to you with traffic surveys, we find motorists that go 55, 65, 70, 80 miles an hour, unfortunately, on some of our roadways. It's unfortunately common on Pleasant Grove Road through the South County. And so these corridors, as they're defined, this is where the majority of the accidents were happening. And while there may not be always a lot of intersections, right, these are where motorists are leaving the roadway. And so to give you an example of why this report and your adoption and consideration of it is important is previously our department applied and received an HSIP grant just under $900,000 so that we could add striping and markers and some signage to about 34 miles of roadway. And those included segments of Garden Highway, they included segments of George Washington, segments of Pleasant Grove Road. So we continually staff reviews our SWITRS database for our accidents to try to see how we can package together a project and then make roadway improvements. Let's see. That just, kind of speaks in general that there are some very specific countermeasures that are included in the programs. Any more? And then that's a thank you. From the package that's included with the rest of the report, just some of the stuff that I can explain to you is that unfortunately DUI becomes an issue in our county, that of accidents where motorists hit an object, 38% were classified as DUIs, right? So more than a third of the motorists who leave the roadway and run into an object and could potentially be killed or severely injured were in a DUI state. The challenge with DUI state becomes that there are not established engineering methods to combat that. Right, is that we as a public works engineering community try to look at ways that your standard observant motorist driver is going to, if they're obeying the speed limit, what we can do to maybe limit accidents. But things, for example, like DUI that kind of limit their reaction times, and those type of can contribute to accidents. So, there are other efforts I think that occur through law enforcement, the California Highway Patrol, always trying to reduce the incidence of DUI, but it continues to be a contributing factor in our county. So with your consideration of the plan and, hopefully the adoption of the resolution, then we would provide that to our other neighboring jurisdictions because as partnering agencies, we intend to be able to support each other through SACOG, not only in HSIP applications, but in other regional projects that we can do to try to be competitive. Because what happens is this regional plan includes safety corridors in every jurisdiction that need to be addressed, and where there are similar corrective actions, then we can package those together, as between different jurisdictions, we could do similar types of measures in order to try to benefit our communities. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Are there any public comments? All right, seeing that, is there anyone on Zoom? All right. I'll bring it back to the board for any questions or comments.
To the chair. Thanks for the presentation, Neil. I do have a couple of questions. One, what projects for us would you consider the highest priority? I know you kind of touched on it, but what would be the highest priority projects?
So we actually have one or two guardrail projects that are in design on some of our county roadways, but so we actually have a striping contract that is in place right now, So we've identified various segments. I think we're striping about 18 miles of county roadway currently. It's under contract right now. We just finished 3 miles of Township Road, for example, that it had faded striping. If you drive down segments of Pleasant Grove Road from Bogue Road southward, there's a lot of the reflectors are missing, And those become important not only with striping, but having reflectors in the fog are important. There was a section of Natomas Road from Housley to Sankey that was just constructed by the Army Corps of Engineers, but they left out the reflectors. And so once again, we find those type of delineators where we can at least put edge lines and reflectors are a way to kind of help motorists stay on the roadway. And then otherwise, we try to put signage at curves. So you may be familiar with, there's a couple of 90-degree curves, Schlag Road, for example, west of town. And those 90-degree curves, if people don't slow down, they will go off the edge of the roadway, and then they will either hit a telephone pole, or they could end up in a drainage ditch. So we're trying to actually add chevron signs, and then we are putting in speed control measures, whether they're called the botch dots that you may have heard of, or we grind in rumble strips. So we're trying to do various things in order to alert drivers at locations where accidents can occur.
Okay. And just to follow up to that, as a result of this, we passed this today, is there an estimate of how much funding we could potentially be eligible for if we don't have this?
Right. So, so definitely having this is a key item to have a competitive application. The various programs through SACOG that administers all the federal funding in our region. If you have an adopted plan, then it shows that, one, you've done an analysis, and so you can then work on those corridors. So the HSIP, like I said, in the past, we did just under $900,000 for 34 miles. We, as an agency, typically find that we are competitive in the $500,000 to $1 million range for these type of improvements. And especially because what happens is there's, with the HSIP program, there's a benefit to cost ratio. So the cost of whatever improvements you're making have to have a certain benefit, and it's not 1-to-1. It needs to be 15-to-1. And so there are some programmatic multipliers that if you spend $5 to put in a reflector, here is the monetary benefit of adding that reflector. And so some of those are pre-established. So that's why we try to look at specific types of accidents. So these ones where motorists have left the roadway, those are big opportunities to either add striping or add signage in order to, and those don't cost a whole lot, but they provide a big benefit, right? Unfortunately, a KSI accident, right, a killed or severely injured, is a very high dollar accident. And so that's where we're trying to see the best value and create a competitive application.
And with that, what would be the first grant we're going to go after?
So with the call for projects of the HSIP, we would then look at these safety corridors, and we've already identified like portions of Pleasant Grove Road, portions of Townsend Road. So we would actually just pull from this plan, and then we would just go into there's an HSIP project application calculator, and then we would put in the specific improvements we're going to do, and then prepare and submit that application. The plan itself is then an attachment to show that we just didn't just sit and look at this. It's like this has 6 years of historical data, so this document will probably typically federal grants, or this they're on about a 2-year cycle. We probably will be able to get at least two to three cycles just out of this plan itself. It can be updated in the future, but it's a very far-reaching document that is based upon all the established traffic engineering principles.
Okay, great. And then I was thinking, is there a way for us to get like a yearly scorecard from you that shows sort of projects completed, grants applied for, and statistically how the accidents are decreasing?
Yes.
Or hopefully not increasing, but yeah, decreasing.
Yes, we could do that specifically like on all the roadways that have been identified in this plan.
Okay.
We can report back to you.
The board would like to see, so
Sure.
we can see that. All right. Thank
We
you.
appreciate that.
Appreciate
To the
it.
chair.
Yes, Supervisor Boone.
Thank you. Well, I saw an opportunity, so I thought I'd better take it. So Larkin Road and Terrabuena Road up in my district, we have a deep canal that runs along those sides, and we've had several deaths, and we have no railing. So when they come off the road, they're going down about 15 feet, and not very many people survive it. So what I was wondering, is this an opportunity to put railing in somewhere along that way?
Yes, so we actually are internally designing the guardrail at the Terrabuena curve.
Okay.
The challenge becomes from an HSIP standpoint that does not have a very high benefit to cost ratio. And that's one of the issues, that you can put it on, but depending on the accident volume and stuff, it's just an interesting way the program kind of works. But yeah, we are developing that project so that we can bring it before your board and then look to advertise it and install it.
Okay, and then I have another one. I received a phone call recently regarding George Washington. We put some new striping down there, and one of the questions is why did we switch it from an 11-foot wide road to a 10-foot wide road? And I said, well, that's a good question to ask. I know the code says we can have a 9, 10, or an 11. What actually qualifies the road to be whatever width it should be?
So that is a specific traffic calming measure that was developed by the Federal Highway Administration. So what happens is with the narrower lanes, especially if you have oncoming traffic, drivers are closer to the center line, so they slow down. It's a proven, established principle. We've used it throughout the county in order to do that. And so what happened years ago, up to about 2005, 2006, the county was restriping all of our lanes with all of our overlay projects at 12 foot. 12 foot, you can go relatively fast in a 12-foot lane. That's the same width as what's usually on the state highway system. But if you go and narrow the lanes down to 10, 10 and a half, 11 foot, we typically base it on traffic volumes. Then it will slow down traffic. There have been lots of complaints on George Washington specifically for speeding. The posted speed limit is 55 miles an hour. We've done multiple studies and people are exceeding that. So it was an opportunity to narrow down the lanes, and it's something that we're trying to use kind of throughout the county because speeding is just so prevalent. It can be a little less effective on roadways where there's not a lot of oncoming traffic if you have low volumes, like less than 1,000 ADT. But otherwise, yes, we found it to be effective, so that's why we do it.
And then I noticed that the striping's a little wider than we've had in the past.
Yes.
So that's a new requirement from the state?
So that is Caltrans guidelines so that the self-driving vehicles can drive.
Oh,
So
Okay.
the optics within a self-driving vehicle.
Makes sense.
They rely upon a 6-inch wide traffic stripe. And so that's, throughout California is what's been established. And that's why that's done, is so that that's what the technology requires.
and you can definitely see the fog line a long ways down the road now in comparison to what was there in the past. And thank you. I'm really pleased with what I've seen. And a lot of our constituents here in the county have made some great phone calls. And looking forward to our next project for sure.
Outstanding.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Move approval of the recommended.
And I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Boone?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores? Supervisor Ziegenmeyer? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
Supervisor Stevens?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Item 25.
Thank you, Neil.
Approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Sutter County Peace Officers Association for the period of July 1, 2026 through July 30, 2028. Adoption of a resolution amending salaries for sworn law management employees, and adoption of a resolution amending the salary for the elected sheriff.
Good afternoon, Acting Chairman and members of the board. Veronica Baumgardner, HR.
Linda Durr, negotiator. On behalf of both Veronica and myself, we want to start out by thanking you for giving us the authority to negotiate with this unit. I want you to know at all times they were respectful, and we didn't always agree, but we were able to reach an amicable agreement, and we very much appreciate the authority that you gave us to show the respect that we have for law enforcement, and you were able to give them a compensation which still fit within this budget during this very difficult time. And again, we sincerely appreciate the efforts that you put into this that allowed us the opportunity to negotiate.
So the existing agreement with the Sutter County Peace Officers Association expired June 30th, 2026, so a few days ago. The county and the association began meeting in the spring of 2026, and we reached a tentative agreement as of June 10th, 2026, with the Peace Officers group ratifying the tentative agreement on June 16th. A few of the major components of the agreement are a 2% base wage upon approval, a 1% base wage increase effective January 9th, 2027, and a 2% base wage effective July 10th, 2027. This is a 2-year contract. Another is an update to our medical, and this is to align and make it comparable amongst all county units besides the DSA group, which we're currently still in negotiations with. In an effort to help recruit experienced staff, one of the other provisions is that all laterals in classifications with at least 5, 10, or 15 years of consecutive law enforcement upon being hired will receive that same amount of vacation time accrual upon them starting, which we hope will help people make that jump over to another agency such as ours. There are also a variety of non-economic items such as housekeeping policy-related changes. Additions to the agreement are not limited to retirement terminology being memorialized in the MOU, current updates to lunch periods, and notifications on how they use compensatory time or comp time as well. According to an August 2025 survey that we did for over 70 management classifications, all 4 of the sheriff law sworn classifications that we have listed today were at that time, so over a year or almost a year ago, were anywhere between 15 to 23% out of market as well. So we are here today also asking that the salary wage increases, the 2%, currently the 1% in January and the 2% next July, also be extended to those unrepresented groups. This will help, of course, maintain that equity and that compaction between management and those that they supervise. As far as the fiscal impact, the salary, the 2% increase current and the 1% in January will cost approximately $311,854. That would be for fiscal year 26-27. The cost of the 2% next July will be approximately $141,000. The medical benefit change cost is estimated to be at $9,875 for year 2027. So that begins in January. And it is expected that the Sheriff's Department will absorb these costs within their existing budget amounts for salaries and benefits. And we are here to answer any other questions you might have.
All right, is there any public comment? All right, seeing no public comment, I'll bring it back to the board for any questions. Seeing no questions, I'll look for the action or motion on the item.
Through the chair, I just have one comment. I just want to say thank you for the work that you guys did as well on the negotiations, and thank you to sheriffs as well for all the negotiating. It was a very respectful time. I know there was a lot of discussion going back and forth, and regardless of the numbers that we end up with, we want you to know that you're highly appreciated in what you do, and we are highly respected for all the work that you do through the Sheriff's Department. So with that, I'd like to move approval of the recommended action.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. A roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Boone?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegenmeier? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
Supervisor Stevens?
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item 26.
Still here.
Approval of a side letter agreement with the Sutter Deputy Sheriff's Association.
Hello again. The Sheriff's Office is currently experiencing significant staffing shortages within another unit outside of the unit that we just spoke about, but this would be within their communications division, which is their dispatch center, essentially. This week, the department has an additional vacancy of a supervising public safety dispatcher. The vacancy, along with a number of other vacancies that we already have that are outside the department's control, reduces the department's ability essentially to provide that oversight and training if we were to bring in new staff. And we actually have current staff in training as well. We have actually discussed this already with the bargaining group as we are in negotiations with them currently, but because negotiations are taking longer than anticipated and the Sheriff's Department really needs this, we're here today. So the proposed side letter would authorize the assignment of qualified public safety dispatcher 2s to serve as training officers. So essentially employees assigned these training responsibilities would receive a 5% salary premium for those hours worked in training. The proposed side letter also establishes a field training officer premium for their CSOs, their community service officers. There's currently not a need for this right now, but because they essentially kind of go hand in hand, we thought we would add it just in case they do need this before the MOU comes, before we sign the actual MOU agreement. So we thought we'd bring them both together here. As stated, the county has met and conferred with the Deputy Sheriff's Association regarding these, and they are in support of this as well. And this is in line with previous authority that we've already been given from you guys. I would like to add that the fiscal impact is a little hard to estimate. So I'll give you some estimates that I got here, but it would be approximately 12 weeks for a dispatcher 2. It would range anywhere from $244 for an employee at a step 1 to $940 if the training employee was at a step 8. So the anticipated cost for the Sheriff's Department, they are anticipated to be able to absorb these appropriations in salaries and benefits because they have multiple vacancies right now, and they would be able to offset these additional costs with those salaries and benefit savings. So I'm here for any other questions.
Is there any public comment on this item? I'll bring it back to the board for questions or comments.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Move approval of the recommended action.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Boone?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores? Aye. Supervisor Ziegenmeier? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
Supervisor Stevens?
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 27.
Receive an annual report in compliance with AB 2561 and addendum to the Myers-Milius-Brown Act.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the board. My name is Jasmine Kaur. I'm an HR analyst with Sutter County, and I am here to present AB 2561, which is the annual vacancy report. Okay. All right, before reviewing the data, I'd like to briefly explain what AB 2561 requires. AB 2561 is a relatively new California law that requires local agencies to present on an annual basis on vacancy rates within each bargaining unit. If the vacancy rate is at or above 20%, there is additional data that must be reported. That includes the total number of job vacancies within the bargaining unit, the total number of applicants for vacant positions within the bargaining unit, the average number of days to complete the hiring process from when a position is posted, and opportunities to improve compensation and other working conditions. We'll go ahead and start with Sutter County Employees Association, also known as GSP. There is 754 positions. 83% of those positions are filled. 17% of those are unfilled. So because the vacancy rate is below the 20% threshold, no additional data is required for this unit. The Sutter County Peace Officers Association, there's 55 positions. 80% of those positions are filled. 20% remain unfilled. And because we're at that 20% threshold, there is additional data. The total number of vacancies within the bargaining unit is 11 vacancies. The total number of applicants for vacant positions within the bargaining unit. The county does not have applicant data to share as there are no active recruitments as of the drafting of the staff report. This is a result of the anticipated changes in the Live Oak contract for law enforcement services, as the city has expressed an interest to reduce services. The average number of days to complete the hiring process from when a position is posted is typically about 180 days or more. This is due to the lack of qualified applicants and the extensive testing, background, and pre-employment requirements for public safety positions. Opportunities to improve compensation, other working conditions. The county continues to evaluate opportunities to enhance compensation and working conditions through ongoing labor negotiations, recruitment initiatives, and operational improvements. Sutter County Probation Officers Association. There is 39 positions. 79.5% of those are filled. 20.5% remain unfilled. And because we're at that above that threshold, there is additional data that needs to be provided. The total number of job vacancies within the bargaining unit is 8. The total number of applicants for vacant positions within the bargaining unit. So the county has received 40 applicants for vacant positions within the bargaining unit. The average number of days to complete the hiring process from when a position is posted, again, is typically 180 days or more, again, for the same reasons, which are the lack of qualified candidates and the extensive testing, background, and pre-employment requirements for public safety positions. Opportunities to improve compensation and other working conditions also remain the same. So working conditions, ongoing labor negotiations, recruitment initiatives, and operational improvements. So up next, we have the Sutter County Deputy Sheriff's Association. There are 94 positions, 87.2% are filled, 12.8% remain unfilled. And because this rate is lower than the threshold, no additional data is required. Up next, we have the Sutter County Professional Firefighters Association. There are 21 positions. 76.2% of those positions are filled. 23.8% remain unfilled. And because, once again, that rate is above the 20% threshold, there is additional details that are required to be reported. The total number of job vacancies within this bargaining unit is 5, the total number of applicants. The county does not have any applicant data to share, as there are no active recruitments as of the drafting of the staff report. This, again, is a result of the anticipated changes in the Live Oak contract for fire services, as the city has expressed an interest to reduce services. The average number of days to complete the hiring process from when a position is posted for this one is about 90 days or more. And again, this is a result of the lack of qualified applicants, the extensive testing, background, and pre-employment requirements for public safety positions. The county continues to evaluate opportunities to enhance compensation and working conditions through ongoing labor negotiations, recruitment initiatives, and operational improvements. So I do want to note for the Sutter County Professional Firefighters Association, there are 2 recruitments in the pipeline. So those 2 recruitments will be helping lower that vacancy rate. So overall, the recruitment and retention challenges would be low wages, lack of qualified applicants, and lack of outlined growth opportunity. Areas for opportunity: creative marketing, which highlights positions, competitive benefits, retirement, work-life balance, and more. Continue policy improvement to minimize hurdles and create efficiencies that benefit departments and employees alike. Update job specifications to better align with the market and meet department needs. Develop training programs and clear career ladders to promote growth opportunity. Continue employee engagement and education through Be Well and other benefit options. That does conclude my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, is there any public comment?
We have one public comment. Attorney Farley.
Tony Farley again, Sutter County UBC, Pro Sacramento Region. Okay. As part of the Myers-Mill-Brown Act, it's pretty much talk about employment law and also employment wages, salary wages pretty much, under the Myers-Mill-Brown Act.
You are correct.
So yeah, and also there's 2 Brown Acts, one for the board and one for the employees. Thank you, California Brown Act. That's all I need to say, man.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Just want to thank Jasmine for that report. Very well done.
Thank
nice
you so
job.
much.
And I'd like to move approval of the recommended action.
There's no vote.
Oh, there's no vote.
Presentation.
Okay,
This
sorry,
one.
I thought it was an action.
No, no.
We're gonna vote on. Well, I just want to say thank you for the great presentation then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For the presentation. Good
you.
job. All right, moving on to item 28, Zachary Hamill.
Authorization for the county administrator or emergency operations manager to apply for the fiscal year 2026 COPS Technology and Equipment Program grant in the amount of $1.5 million. Authorization to accept the grant award if awarded. Authorization for the county administrator or emergency operations manager to execute all related grant documents, agreement amendments, and certifications necessary to apply for, accept, and administer the grant. And authorization for the county administrator, emergency operations manager, or their designee to fulfill the conditions of the grant.
Good afternoon. Zachary Hamill, Emergency Operations Manager for Sutter County. So before you is the federal appropriations for $1.5 million in community-oriented policing grant. A little background on this. Office of Emergency Management applied for some federal funding. They submitted a federal funding request back in March of 2025 to all 3 of our federal representatives, and Senator Padilla pushed this one forward and got it into the bill. So this is going to purchase new multi-band public safety radios for first responders. We were recently notified that we did receive this $1.5 million and needed to complete the grant to access the funding. Equipment is going to improve both routine operations and emergency response coordination. It's going to allow our responders to communicate across multiple radio frequency bands to reduce the need to carry multiple radios. Additionally, this will provide the county an opportunity to purchase the equipment that would otherwise require a substantial local funding commitment over the next few years and resolve safety issues that have been reported over the last few years from our field staff. So fiscal impact. The grant, the federal funding is $1.5 million. The grant is 100% reimbursable. There is no match required from the county. So what I'm asking in front of you today is a request for authorization to apply for and accept the $1.5 million through the FY26 Community-Oriented Policing and Technology Equipment Grant administered by the U.S. Department of Justice. This request is going to authorize the county administrator and myself to submit to the grant application, accept the award, and execute the required agreements. One last note, this is we already have the money, and I know the verbiage is a little confusing. We have the money, now we have to go through the formal process to apply and actually gain access to the funds. And one last thing is there will be a budget amendment returning before your board to account for all the capital assets.
All right, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing no public comment, I'll bring it back to the board for questions or comments.
The chair.
Supervisor Boone.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is 1.5 million, is that by chance going to help us out with the tower over off of?
No, so this is just for
radios.
portable and mobile radios.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'll move to accept the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. A roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Boone?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegenmeier? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
Supervisor Stevens?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Item 29, Sarah Eberhardt-Rios.
Approval to accept the Department of Healthcare Services providing access and transforming health supports justice involved round 4 capacity building funds in the amount of $600,000. Ratify the Sutter County Sheriff's execution of the terms and conditions and authorization for the Sutter County Sheriff or their designee to execute all related documents and amendments subject to County Council review and approval as to legal form.
Thank you so much. Sarah Eberhardt-Rios, your Health and Human Services Director, presenting on behalf of the Cal-AIM Justice Involved program. Sheriff Barnes and his team that operates the jail and jail medical. As you know, that Sutter County HHS does support some of our jail medical operations. And so Cal-AIM Justice Involved is what's known as a reentry program. And so what that means is that we're serving folks under Cal-AIM Justice Involved that are staying in the jail kind of a short amount of time. So 30 days or less, 60 days or less, 90 days or less. And essentially, some of that activity is aimed at helping folks when they leave the jail be more successful in the community. This is a first-in-the-nation program. California received federal approval to have some of the reentry activities performed under Cal-AIM Justice Involved billable under folks Medi-Cal. And so that approval is in place at the state level through the end of December of 2026, and we're hopeful that the federal administration will extend this waiver activity for multiple future years due to the success of the program. Next slide. So the Cal-AIM Justice Involved initiative really is a collaborative, bringing 8 disparate partners together, working to serve folks, of course, again, in the jail setting and then in the community setting, and essentially coordinating all that care through a golden thread. We do not duplicate services. We actually work together on behalf of that individual that's going back into the community to the benefit of that person's experience and public safety. Sutter County lifted our Cal-AIM Justice Involved program up in April of 2025, and we have presented at multiple conferences across the state, and we've also been awarded a national award for the implementation of our program from the Community Affiliated Health Plans, the National Community Affiliated Health Plan Association. Next slide. So we've had multiple rounds of Cal-AIM funding flowing into the county since fiscal year 22 and 23. And so I'm just going to highlight a couple things in these rounds of funding we've received. So via round 2, we did do some extension of the jail conduit to help us have more telemedicine capability within the jail, the electrical conduit updates. Of course, that is a supervised jail medicine type of activity there. For round 3, you see that funding is for multiple budget years, and it is specifically to support the reentry staff salaries and positions and costs. And we think that that will likely get us into at least 28, 29, but I actually estimate it might get us a little further, so 29, 30. We are here today to ask for your approval to accept our last and final round of Cal-AIM Justice Involved funding in the amount of $600,000 so that we can implement for our Cal-AIM Justice Involved program medication-assisted treatment. And that will be a multiple-year grant as well, going into at least a minimum of fiscal year 28-29. Next slide. So let's talk a little bit about how the program has been doing over the past year. So I've got a little data for you. So we have served in our time of operating this program right around 1,879 clients. Just over half of those clients have signed releases for us to all coordinate together. Those 8 partners I showed to you in the prior slide, coordinate together on their behalf and try to help them in their reentry. We have 195 active clients, and those are folks essentially that are going to be working with us really at a very high level of engagement in the jail, and then also once they are discharged in the community. The recidivism rate for the Cal-AIM Justice Involved program is just around 25%, meaning that's the amount of folk that are coming back into the jail. That is relatively low. When we look at average recidivism rates for the same population are typically between 40 and 50%. And for folks that are struggling with substance use disorder, they're around 68%. So again, on the reentry side, the program has proven to be very successful. A couple of other data points for you on the next slide. I'd like to point out for you, again, the majority of folks that we see in the Cal-AIM Justice Involved program are staying for 30 days or less, at 71% of folks. We see that about 43% of folks are either homeless or struggling with housing insecurity, and that we see of those 1,800 folks that we're serving through the Cal-AIM Justice Involved program, 82% are being discharged again back into the community. So that reentry activity, collaboration with probation, and all of the other partners, very important to try to prevent folks from coming back into the jail setting. Next slide. So I would like to also share with you too, in terms of folks that are struggling with substance use issues, we see that stimulant use disorder is kind of the highest number of folks that we're supporting that are needing supported treatment, either in the jail setting while they're there or upon discharge. We do know that Prop 36, we are a very highly engaged county when it comes to Prop 36, and so there is unfortunately no funding for Prop 36. That remains unfunded by the state, but we are glad to have the Cal-AIM Justice Involved program as a tool in our tool bag to help those folks that are coming into the jail setting via Prop 36. Next slide. So we also are working internal to the jail in the jail setting with Ampla Health, who again come in and join that team within the jail setting to support folks. The same team that are working with Cal-AIM beneficiaries in the jail follow them out into the community, and that's kind of a rare program design. It provides continuity of relationship, continuity of trust, and continuity of service. Next slide. So we also have a lot of success in terms of the way that we've embedded our reentry staff in the jail proper. So we're working side by side with the folks that are operating the jail and with the folks that are in the jail. So we're not sitting outside of the jail, we're actually in the jail in an embedded model. And that is a best practice. Next slide. So again, we're working in this multidisciplinary setting when folks are coming in via the arrest process, via the booking process, while they're spending time in the jail setting, while they're going through affiliated court processes, when they're discharged and on supervision with our probation colleagues, and then entering into a number of healthcare facilities. So you can see how much coordination this team actually does. Again, not a duplication of services, just a really good golden thread of targeted effective care. Next slide. So the item before you today, we are asking for your support to accept our last and final round of Path Round 4 funding in the amount of $600,000. And again, that would be utilized to implement medication-assisted treatment for folks that are struggling with opioid use disorder. And with that, I do want to go to the next slide. And if we could just acknowledge the staff that run this program. So Krista, Captain Matt Maples is here somewhere, have bad eyes. Did he leave? He was here. And we had Deputy Howe, who I think really deserves a lot of recognition. He really has made a difference and is very trusted by folks that are in the jail and kind of is our best marketing staff as it relates to Cal-AIM Justice Involved. And with that, myself and the sheriff or undersheriff are here to answer any questions you may have.
Could I first ask for this public comment? Is there any public comment on this item? I'll bring it back to the board. Supervisor Stevens.
Yes, Sarah, is this a limited program, or is this covering everybody within 90 days? Or is it just a number of people that we're trying this program on, or does everybody get the same treatment?
You've kind of got it right. It's basically an opt-in program. So the program is offered to folks that are interested, and then they have to opt in. And so 1,879 folks have opted in.
Out of how many?
They've had 5,165 bookings in the same time period.
You got that number?
Some of those
in
people
your
are
head.
coming in multiple times, so that could be some of the same folks.
Thank you, sir.
All right, are there any further questions or comments from the board?
Move approval of the recommended action.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, sorry, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Boone?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegenmeyer? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
Supervisor Stevens?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to item 30, County Administrative Officer Steve Smith.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair and Supervisors. A couple things. Our Biz Kids Showcase, which was an idea that the Board of Supervisors came up with, is going to be held at the Yuba-Sutter Marketplace Saturday, July 25th from noon to 3. Let me grab a couple details. The event, sponsored by the Sutter County, will give local youth a chance to showcase their business ideas and embrace their entrepreneurial spirit. So it'll be at the mall, noon to 3 p.m. on July 25th. We also have coming up the Sutter County Sheriff's Office portion of National Night Out, Tuesday, the 4th of August from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Sheriff's Office. And I also just wanted to comment the last couple items dealing with grant funds. The county has been really successful at seeking grant funds, both federally and at the state level. And I just wanted to thank all the great work that staff does, and even supervisors bring us grants to look into. Everyone's involved trying to improve things locally, cut costs for us, and save taxpayer dollars. And we've been able to do that time and time again, and I just appreciate everyone's work. Thank you.
All right. Okay, we have correspondence and that our clerks will be handing. We'll bring it down to district reports from the Board of Supervisors. We'll start with District 2, Supervisor Flores.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I appreciate it. I'd like to start off with making sure we put together a letter of condolence for Dominic Bells' daughter, who passed away tragically last weekend. So if we could do that. Also like to say that the fireworks show, I want to add, that was a really awesome July 3rd and 4th joint jurisdictional celebration, and it shows what we can do when we're working together as Yuba-Sutter as one, and working closely together with Yuba City and Marysville, and even Live Oak got in on it, and Wheatland. So, but all of us were there, and I was at both shows with you, and it was great. The July 3rd fireworks show was well attended. They said over 10,000 people were there, food vendors, and just a great day. And then July 4th was fun. We had the drone show and a huge car show that happened. We had a great speech by our own Carm Baines that day for the veterans, as we recognize the veterans. And it was just a really great turnout. So congratulations to all the jurisdictions involved. And we look forward to continuing that sort of joint effort on lots of different things, not just the fireworks show. So, and things are going well to that end. And then lastly, I want to invite everybody to attend the 17th and 18th is the Marysville Peach Festival, and hope all of you can make it. There's been a lot of planning going on, you know, wearing my other hat as Marysville Assistant City Manager, a lot of planning happening, and we're looking forward to a huge event, and it's going to be a nice, cool 96 degrees out this year, which is great because usually it's about 105. So come on over to the Peach Festival and cool off, listen to music, and eat peaches. We'd love to see you there. Thank you.
Supervisor Stevens.
Yes, I also would like to express my condolences to the Belza family for the loss of their daughter. I'd also like to invite everyone to Shanghai Bend Park on July 23rd. Myself and Representative Cole from Yuba City is having a community and conversation event in the park just to come on out and talk about county issues and city issues. So we'd like to see you all there if you can come. Thank you.
Supervisor Boone.
Yeah, just a little heads up. Our Live Oak softball group last year made it to the regional finals, lost. Actually, California is divided into two states. They actually have the North State and the South State. And then we have Hawaii, Utah, Nevada, and Arizona are also involved. So last year, we made it there to the final and lost out to Southern California. And in any event, this year, Live Oak is in again. And their first game is against Southern California. So it's going to be interesting. If they can get through this one, I think they can move on to the Nationals. But anyways, tonight, if you don't have anything going on, up at Live Oak Community Center, we're having a spaghetti dinner fundraiser to help some of our families that probably don't have a lot in comparison to a few others, and we're going to try to see if we can get enough money for the families to go down and visit them and watch the game. First game's is on the 18th, and in San Bernardino, and we're looking forward to rooting Live Oak on, because after all, Live Oak is Sutter County, right? Woohoo! Thank you.
All right. In addition to the letters of sympathy and condolences that go out to Dominic and Julia for Riley Rose, I'd like to request a letter to go to the family of Amarjeet Shoker, and one go for Gurpal S. Kang. And now I'm looking for a motion to accept these requests.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Boone?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegenmeier? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
Supervisor Stevens?
Aye.
All right, thank you. But we're going to move into a closed session at this point. So thank you all for coming out tonight, and see you next time.
Conference of Labor Negotiators Linda Durer and Veronica Baumgartner, Employee Organizations, DSA, pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6.
Government Watch, you can support or sponsor. Help keep the community aware with Yuba-Sutter.LIVE.
Yuba-Sutter.LIVE. It's the truth that comes through.